Hi everyone, my name is Miles and this is X-Rays, where knowledge meets inspiration in the intricate dance of industry evolution. Whether you're tuning in from your office, your home, or on the go, you're in for a treat because today we'll be joined by someone who's been a huge presence on our show, having graced us with his insights on everything from corporate responsibility to education and sustainability. But today we're diving into a topic that's near and dear to the heart of innovation and business growth: lifetime learning. For those who might not be familiar yet, our guest company has been a leading international educational services provider that helps organizations develop their most important asset, their people. In this episode, we'll be discussing how lifetime learning can shape the future of organizations and individuals alike, how they keep their educational content on the cutting edge, and why continuous learning is key to sustained business success. Without further ado, here's the Managing Director and CEO of ACI Global and e-Quip. Once again, Ian Erskine. Hello, Ian. It's always a pleasure to have you and to talk to you.
And an absolute pleasure to have you discussing this with me on this podcast.
Thank you so much. For our viewers who may be new to what you're offering, can you start by explaining what lifetime learning means at ACI Global and how it fits into your broader vision for the future of business?
Yes, lifetime learning came about from my discussions with many of my clients when I do their third-party audits. And I think it's a known factor around the world that businesses try to maintain their employees because it's quite an expensive process to go out and resource and bring them in and take them on that learning journey, because every business is different. They all have their own idiosyncrasies and different business processes. So that's how lifetime learning was born, that to put in place a learning regime so that candidates within a business and the business themselves can always know that the learning and the ongoing professional development of their employees is taken care of within a secure learning platform. Now, obviously, as our company grew, we're now ISO certified. Also, we now have the e-Quip software platform. So now that's all available for candidates and employees for all businesses all around the world, so that we can set them up so that they don't have to go outside the market to look for additional employees, because all they need to do is, okay, so if the organisation is looking to go down a different path, ACI Global can actually develop specific courses for that new arm of the business, and that's brought in under the lifetime learning of all their employees.
I see. It really sounds like ACI Global is dedicated to making sure businesses stay ahead of the game. Now, when we talk about lifetime learning, Ian, I'm sure our audience is wondering, how do you keep things fresh and relevant, especially in terms of the skills needed as industries evolve at such a fast pace?
Well, that's a very, very good question. But again, that's not a difficult thing to do, because businesses are changing all the time. And ISO standards are changing all the time, and industry requirements are also changing all the time. So it's it's like an evolution, right?
Yeah.
And we must be prepared to provide additional training courses and add-ons to existing training programs to cater for business growth, cater for change, remembering a little book, Who Moved My Cheese, right? Everyone is in, even ourselves personally, because if you think of it, you are never, ever standing still. You are always looking, and this is what we were talking about before we came on air. We were talking about in your everyday life, you're always looking at doing things to better yourself. You're looking at things to better your family and your loved ones.
Yeah.
And that's the same, because that's the way ACI Global looks at our association with all our organisations, our businesses around the world, they're part of the ACI global family.
And with the pace of change, businesses can't really afford to be caught off guard, Ian. So, given the diversity of industries that ACI Global works with, each with its own set of unique challenges. So, how do you tailor your lifetime learning programs to meet the unique needs of different sectors, say from technology to energy to manufacturing?
Well, that again, a very good question. But again, that's not hard to do. You just have to be prepared to maintain communication with, for argument's sake, the standards bodies, the industry bodies, and because we are looking for them to provide us updates to codes and standards requirements and industry requirements and so forth. Hence, then we take those changes and put them into our courses. And I'll give you an example of that here in Australia. There's a lot of talk at the moment in reference to incidents and even deaths in reference to fatigue in the workplace. So what the industry has done, they've released a model code for people to have a look that, and it was sent out to myself at ACI Global. And I thought, well, this will be a very interesting exercise. So it was like a 50-page document, and I just thought to myself, okay, the key thing on my mind with fatigue is that number one, it's the responsibility of the employee or the person themselves to monitor their own fatigue, right? So I did this search of the document in reference to primary duty of care, and I thought to myself, oh, this is encouraging. It came up 4 times. And so I looked at each 4 occasions, and the only 4 mentions, it was mentioning the owner of the business, the PCBU, right?
Okay.
And I thought to myself, well, hang on a minute. The owner of the business can't be there with the employee all the time if they are dreadfully tired or stressed.
Of course.
Right? So I put an extensive edit to the document, simply saying fatigue is the person's own responsibility. And I'll give you the analogy of that. The analogy of that is, if you wake up in the morning and you feel dreadfully tired, your first instinct or your brain is telling you, no, don't get up, go back to sleep, right? Your alarm clock might have gone off, right? But you have to get up and go to work because you have pressures to feed your family, so forth. Excuse me. But you have to be mindful, if you are very tired, it's a risk to you, not only yourself, to others. If you get in your car and drive to work, you nod off at an intersection or something like that, and serious ramifications can occur.
Yes.
So what I'm saying there is, we are actively now working back with the authorities and saying, with fatigue, it has to be a two-way street. So the business owners have to be aware of the hours their employees work. Person themselves must be aware that they can work a number of hours and then they have to have a quick rest break or something like that. Now, often that coincides with lunch and afternoon or morning tea breaks, right? But if it's more extensive work, extra breaks need to be taken. But again, it comes back to primary duty of care, chain of responsibility from the business owner all the way down to the employee. They're all responsible for managing fatigue. So just taking that into lifetime learning, we're now developing within each of our courses an extra add-on where we actually talk about fatigue and the responsibility of everyone. And we talk about the chain of responsibility, right? So that, and it can be managed. And it doesn't have to be managed by putting additional legal stoppages for an organisation. It has to be managed by the organisation and the employee themselves.
Yeah, so everyone is, has to be involved. And
yes,
focusing on unique needs of each sector, each employee. And as you mentioned, customizing everything that's actually makes what lifetime learning is all about and so effective. You're really customizing the solution for success, Ian. Now let's talk about results. Since we're talking about industry specific approaches earlier, what are some of the most impactful skills you've seen leaders and teams develop through your lifetime learning programs that have driven measurable success in their organizations?
Well, this is possibly one of the most pleasing parts of being a managing director of a global training company, is that you can actually map the person's learning, their additional knowledge, their additional skills, their additional capabilities, and their personal successes within their careers. And it makes me feel very proud that I can step back and mention literally hundreds of people which I have partnered with, because it's a partnership, right? I'm their tutor and their mentor and their facilitator, right? But the most important part for me is they are continually improving, continually jumping over hoops to make themselves better. And I've been in situations where I've audited an organisation and I've come on board to do their external learning, right? And some of these people have actually gone from an employee to a senior manager, and then they've come back to me and they said, "Oh, Ian, we're leaving, but I'm going to start up my own cleaning business. Are you still here with us?" And I say, "Of course we are, because you have a lifetime learning product with us, right?"
Yeah.
And they go out and they develop their business, and this is happening in this very, very time in Australia with the cleaning business I know. I have mapped their journey all the way along. They've been with us for years, and that's why we always talk about high achiever status. And being a high achiever doesn't mean once you get there, you can rest on your laurels, because you don't. You continue to drive to improve yourself.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it's really great that ACI Global is not only a mentor, but also a partner in the journey of the organizations you train and assist in having these lifetime learning programs, of course, to have the high achiever status. And I'm sure our viewers are hearing that and thinking, well, I need some of that in my company, you know? Well, they should. Now, as a leader yourself, Ian, I imagine you've got a lot on your plate. So, how do you personally balance the need for continuous learning with the demands of your day-to-day leadership? How does lifetime learning fit into your work-life balance, and how does it help your clients do the same?
Well, I guess the lifetime learning product basically mirrors very much my journey. I've come from being a child that was born on a fruit farm. My father had gone to the Second World War. He came back, and part of him coming back, he was awarded a rice farm. So we moved from the fruit farm to the rice farm, and then I went to school, went to secondary school, went back on the farm, progressed my knowledge as a farmer, from an irrigation farmer to a dry area farmer. Then I progressed from going from the dry area farm into running a gas business. Then from the gas business, I went into running a franchise for a dairy farm company, milk, yogurts and fruit juice and so forth. And then I've come in to basically this role, running an education training organisation. Basically, again, as I said, the lifetime learning product gives myself as a managing director of ACI Global that ability to hand back, to give back to people, to bring them up. And another part of the lifetime learning product is our ISO scholarships and cadetship program, because that gives me the option to hand back and give people the lift up to move forward, and for them themselves to become a high achiever.
Yeah. Well, it's really about learning part of that every single day and not just all about formal education, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Mhm. Finally, Ian, for anyone watching who's curious about lifetime learning with ACI Global, what's the best way for businesses or individuals to get involved and start their transformation journey?
I think the first thing they need to do is just go to our website, register, and basically one of our team will contact them within 24 hours and
Mm-hmm.
ask them what their needs and their requirements are. And then we basically customise their learning, their start of their learning program from that very point on.
Mhm. Very easy. And that's a great
Yes,
one. I hope our
yes.
listeners have been taking note of this. Well, there you have it, folks. That's a fantastic roadmap for any organization looking to grow through continuous learning. If you're looking to revolutionize your skills or transform your workforce, this is definitely the way to go. Thank you so much again, Ian, for joining us. What a day full of insights and knowledge with you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Miles.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. You know how we love delivering these insightful conversations to you. So, better check out our next episode. This has been your host, Miles. Stay focused and inspired with X Rays.